If you look at the time of World Remit, Western Union, sorry, in the time of Western Union and RIA, um, so you need to walk into a store, right? Which is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to from where you live to initiate a transaction. You need to go with your valid passport. Then you look at what remittance it is today. You know, you can see that it's not all about the fees and the rates. You know, and again, those days they used to charge exorbitant rates. Which is not negotiable to customers. You have to pay it because you don't have an option, right? What remit can charge you as much as 10% of how much you're paying back home. But now, rates, fees are not the end thing.
Hey, welcome to the FinTech Frontlines by Cora. This podcast is a collection of timeless ideas on how to build, launch, and operate a fintech in Africa from the most experienced minds in African fintech. In this episode, Hyginus and Grace talk about the strategies remittance companies can use to differentiate themselves beyond rates and fees. They share insights into how to help your customers solve their financial problems beyond sending money home.
If you look at from the time of World Remit, when you need to walk into a store. Pardon me, my contribution in this webinar is based on the diaspora because I've lived over 20 years in the diaspora, right? So if you look at the time of World Remit, Western Union, sorry, in the time of Western Union and RIA, so you need to walk into a store, right? Which is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes from where you live to initiate a transaction. You need to go with your valid passport. Then you look at what remittance it is today. You can see that it's not all about the fees and the rate. And again, those days they used to charge exorbitant rates. Which is not negotiable to customers. You have to pay it because you don't have an option, right? What remit can charge you as much as 10% of how much you're paying back home. But now, rates, fees are not the end thing. I look at remittance today as entirely changed. You see people in diaspora, they want to send their family to the bank and they want to initiate the transaction, knowing that before they get to the bank, the money is already in the bank. So, with this question, we're not talking about rate or fees. We're talking about speed, convenience. Those things are more key these days because they're looking at, I have a project, I need to pay my staffs. I'm building a house, I'm building an estate in Lagos. Before 6 o'clock, I need to have funds back home to settle all the laborers and all that. So it's not all about fees. Everybody is now key to the speed, the convenience. Is this something I can log into my app? Is this something I can credit my, I can make payments, swiftly without going to my bank or directly, getting the payment into the remittance company through my card or credit card. So these are what people are looking for. So it's no more about fees. If you like, make fees, whatever, make your rates to be the best. But if you can't provide that convenience, it's a game changer for you. I will tell you something very clearly. I see some very big remittance company in Australia, and today they have 1 to 2 days, delivery, right? They're out of the market. They are not relevant because nobody wants to use them. People need something very quick and very fast, convenient, something you can do, sitting on your bedroom, initiate a transaction, and from the other side, they can confirm, oh, we've got the payment. So speed is very essential. Convenience is also very essential. Security is also good. People are looking at, oh, am I safe with these companies? I mean, when you go to World Remit those days, when you go to Western Union those days, you need to go with your passport, right? They need to scan your passport, and you don't know what they do with your ID, right? So, but here, these days, when we onboard a customer, we send them through a third party that is purely, secured, and they can, do their verification, do their liveness verification, and being onboarded, they are sure that, okay, this is where I'm uploading my document. When you walk into a Western Union store, right? and give your passport to somebody, to a staff, they don't know whether they can duplicate your ID and start using it for something else. So, these things are the key today in the remittance. So nobody is talking about the fees. If you have the convenience, the easy, people can, in the comfort of their bedroom, initiate a transaction, and from the other side, in Africa, in Asia, or wherever it is, they can confirm the payment has been delivered within 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's what is the key today in the market. Things like virtual cards, they are very important. So you look at somebody that lives in the UK, and he travels to Nigeria like two, 3 times in a year, right? And they want to, like, if they have a plan to travel in the next 3, 6 months, they start looking at the FX, right? So they know how much, they have a budget, they know how much they want to spend, right? Back home. So if you give them that flexibility to have things like, will I call it embedded finance, things like virtual card, options to convert their currency, when the market is high, because it's not only remittance company that are watching the market. Individuals, businesses, they're looking at, the trend. When is the rate high? Oh, wow, the rate is high this week. They can convert all the money they want to spend in 3 months. So if you give them that flexibility of embedded finance for them to be able to, convert, say, have like a kind of virtual bank account, virtual card that they can store money prior to the they want. That is one thing I've seen a lot of customers are asking for, because they want to, have a great value for their money. They want to, also have control of the money, because right now, most people in diaspora, for them to do that, you know, I've seen a use case. I've been in the industry for 9 years. So I've seen a use case where customers, send money to the family members, and by the time they get back home, these funds has been used for another thing. So if you are providing things like embedded finance where they can, have the money into your app and in control of how much they send, because not every diaspora has a bank account, right? So it's something that people are really looking for, not because you're giving us a good rate, but I see this app, to be something I can swap over different currencies at my convenience, and store currencies in the app and use it at my convenience. So it's just, an added, services that people are, looking for.
By any industry, there's that form of growth. And today, I believe, or even in the last couple of years, one of the things that most of our diaspora community has been asking for is, as Hyginus was saying, you've sent money back home for your home, and when you come back, there's essentially no home or even no piece of land. So they're asking for direct ways to make this particular payments. So startups, remittance companies that are actually looking to stay in the market or stay in the industry for a bit of time need to start looking at how do we have these embedded services within their ecosystem. I think we are seeing this today with the likes of Nala. as well as SendWave, where you're able to make a direct deposit for a utility payment, be it electricity, be it water. I believe now they are actually to the point where you can actually pay school fees from the comfort of your bedroom, as Hyginus said, when you're in Berlin or in the UK, etc.
Thank you for listening to this episode of FinTech Frontlines. For businesses that want to build in Africa, Cora provides you with delightful payment products for collections, payouts, and settlements. Learn more at corahq.com. Like and rate this podcast so more people like you can find it.